What's up, brother? Tuesday. Welcome in. This is SimWorld today, May 28th. I am Marsh, joined this fantastic Tuesday morning by the one, the only, the four-eyed wonder, B-Ron. Good morning, B-Ron. What's going on, my man?
The four-eyed wonder, I will take that as opposed to
I've,
three. I'll
I've, I've
take
heard
that.
that like multiple times. People have called you that.
Really? Oh, look, hey,
Yeah,
I appreciate
it's pretty common from my side.
it.
I don't know.
Hey,
Clearly
hey,
not relaying that to you.
hey, nope. But look, I appreciate it. Thank you. Four-eyed wonder, I appreciate it. Better than three, I'll say that much. There's a joke in there somewhere, but I'll leave that for those who know. Anyway, good to be here, Marsh. Appreciate you, man.
Well, speaking of numbers of four, the Celtics finished off a four-game sweep of the Indiana Pacers last night, 105-102, a game-winning three-pointer by Derek White with under a minute to play in another game in which the Pacers could not close out Boston. And at this point, with 3 games of evidence, I think it's fair to just look at this and say, one, we knew this, the better team advanced, but the Celtics just were better at the end of the games. They had more pieces to go to, and that was to me, B-Ron, as I watched the closing minutes of that last night, to just say the Celtics have more reliable options than the Indiana Pacers do, and that's why they're moving on.
Yeah, and it's really difficult to win a game if you get into this every time to win a game and you can't close. That's the whole point. And the best teams find ways to close out games and win games like that. These are winnable games. It's not like they were out of it. At any point in time, really, throughout the series. A lot of these games came down to very few last minutes of the game, and you make crucial plays to win, and the other one just didn't do it. Yeah, the Celtics are the better team overall. This is just, I do wonder how that goes when they play the Mavericks or the Bulls, whoever ends up being that, which we'll get to it later on. But I don't know, man. Celtics though, good team, good win, way to get the sweep as well. So hey, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I think I should say the reason that the Celtics don't advance just because they have depth. They have better players. I mean, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are anything that are better than the top two players on Indiana.
It also didn't help. Still, sorry to cut you off. It also didn't help that Halliburton had the injury. Obviously, that didn't help matters. But it did. But at the same time, it wasn't making a difference. Enough of a difference beforehand for it to really matter as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you have huge nights from Andrew Nemhard. You have a huge night from T.J. McConnell the last two. Here's what the Indiana Pacers played like a young team, right? In the closing minutes of Game 3 and Game 4, Andrew Nemhard, I had multiple just poor decision-making plays. He drove into in Game 3 Drew Holiday. He had that stolen in Game 4. I think it was Jaylen Brown who stole it from him when he's just chaotically running, trying to run in transition into the paint. That is what young teams do. That is what they do in moments they have not been in. And we saw that from Tyrese Halliburton in Game 1. I thought at points of Game 2, they just looked overwhelmed in the moment. This was a young basketball team. And not only does Boston have the advantage of being in the conference finals for like the 5th time in 6 years or something like that, at the very least the 3rd straight year. They've also been to the SWBA finals. They have been in big moments. Now, granted, they haven't won a championship, but that's more than what the Pacers have done.
Right.
And so we've got plenty of time to talk Boston, as we're gonna have like a month off, pretty much, not actually like a week until the SWBA finals. But to the Pacers, what I came to the realization of when I was watching this team last night, beyond the fact that they just didn't have the number of ancillary pieces, I think this team is the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, if Tyrese Halliburton is healthy, you just look at how competitive they made every single game. And granted, Boston didn't play great opponents in the first 2 rounds, but Indiana has depth in T.J. McConnell and Nemhard in the backcourt. They've got a superstar on the rise in Tyrese Halliburton. They've got another great all-star in Pascal Siakam. I love their front court with Miles Turner. They have a bunch of dudes that can hit shots. I really do believe that Indiana coming into next season, if they can just take experience forward, I really do think they're the best team in the Eastern Conference based off what we saw in this series, where no one expected them to be winners, but the fact that they kept all of these games so close was a
Yeah.
testament to their talent.
I definitely agree with you there. You don't get to this point in the season, but by being mediocre, Marsh. We know that for sure. But you don't compete with a team like Boston the way that they did, and say that they're average at the same time. That's not
Right.
how this works.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt that they are a very talented team, and I do think the spot where you run it back if possible. See how the offseason goes with player movement, all that stuff, because that's obviously a part of sports. So you see how many guys you can get to return, and if you can run it back with the year of experience, and yeah, it definitely could make a difference. You know what not to do next time and all that stuff. So yeah, experience is a great teacher.
And I shouldn't say that, or people are going to see this. Oh, they're the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I think no, duh. They made it to the conference finals. They were the last team standing in the conference behind the Celtics. I honestly think if the Knicks were healthy and the Sixers were healthy, if the Bucks were healthy, I like the chances of Indiana in all those series. And I think going into next season, with all those things, if all things stay relatively similar, I still would like Indiana as the number two. And you're correct. They've done a fantastic job. I think the teaching of this moment is the development. I don't know that there needs to be a major roster shakeup. All right, let's head to the other side where tonight, Tuesday night, we might get the conclusion to the Western Conference Finals. Mavs, T-Wolves in Dallas. True or false, B-Ron, are we getting a sweep tonight?
Yes, we are. Yeah. I really want to, you know, put my faith in the Timberwolves to win one game. But with the way the Mavs have been playing, it's very similar, honestly,
Yep.
to the Celtic Pacers series. One team's a young team, the other one, they have more pieces around them than the T Wolves do. I think that trend continues tonight, and I think we do see a sweep tonight.
Yeah, you took the point right out of my mouth. This is a very similar series. You've got a young team that has not been able to close against a team that's got players that have been here. Luka Doncic has been to the
Yeah.
conference finals. He's 24, but Luka, I sometimes think he's like 28 because he's also been playing professional since
Right.
he's like 15. I think that's one of the advantages a lot of European players have is that they have a professional environment from the moment they are eligible to be there, right? So you're looking at 16, 17, 18-year-olds that are playing professional basketball. That's just not the case in the States. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could say college, but you're playing against other players in the prep and collegiate levels. Luka's been
Right.
playing against guys in their 20s since he was 15 years old. So, and then of course Kyrie with one of the greatest shots in SWBA history. So, in these games, it's this. You're right. It's the same exact thing where we've seen just an inability to close out. I think it's so hard to sweep somebody. It is so hard to win 4 times in a row um, that I don't want to say I think there's going to be a sweep, but at the same time, to your point, it's just been this inability to close. Unless the Wolves get like a 20-point lead with 5 minutes left, I'm not going to feel comfortable with them
Yeah.
on top in this game in Game 4 tonight or in any of the other ones because that's been the case. They've squandered leads time and time again, and that's why Dallas is up 3-0, and it's not the other way around where I think it very easily could be a 2-1 series to the Wolves.
Yeah, and even then, I don't think I would feel comfortable, just because we've seen teams blow huge leads like that before with less
Yeah.
time sometimes. So and especially in the high powered offense that the SVBA is in these days. Um, I don't think that 20 points is as safe against a lot of teams as one would think. And I think the Mavs are one of those teams just because they have, again, we talked about Kyrie and Luca, being two of the star players in the league right now on the same team, no less. Uh, and I think that I just think that they have too much firepower to not be able to come back from down a deficit like 20. I know you use an example, but yeah.
Yes. Well, the Wolves, of course, did have that comeback from down by 20 against Denver. But yes, I don't know if that's I don't know. That's the worst answer in sports, but I really don't know if they're gonna win tonight. To me, it just feels like it's probably over, but who knows? Let's head over to SimWorld Prep, where tonight we have a
Yeah.
massive game between Philadelphia and the Originators. B Run. Who do you got tonight and why?
So I'm gonna take the Philadelphia Elite tonight.
Okay.
They beat them the first time they played. Was January 15th. I know a lot has changed from then till now, obviously. But the reason I'm picking the Philadelphia Elite is because last time out they had a game plan for Cooper Flag, and that was to kind of let him do what he do, but not let everybody else kind of get involved. And even then, Cooper Flag had 21 points in that game, and Jay Last had 15. Nobody else was in double digits in that game last time out.
Mhm.
If Philadelphia Elite can keep that similar game plan, ramp it up to another level here tonight, I think that's how they win this game. They have one of the best defenses in SimWorld Prep, so the OGs. So I'm expecting another low scoring game like it was last time. But I think that defense will be the reason why Philadelphia Elite wins this game, and because that and their game plan for Cooper Flag.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I really like Philadelphia tonight. That's not to say I don't like the Originators. Obviously, Cooper Flag has the ability to completely change that. But it kind of goes back to the whole talking point that I've had since I don't know months now.
Yeah.
I don't trust one star teams to win championships, and I know this isn't a championship game, but this is the beginning of it, right? You're looking at
Yep.
guys. Let's see, how many games do we have left for each squad? This is each team has one more game left before the run to one. This might as well be a preliminary round of the run to one because it matters, right? I mean, we're not one.
Mhm.
Not only are we at that point in the season, but two. I mean, this is two teams that could be in the Founders Region championship game with the chance to go on to to be one of the
Yep.
final four teams standing. But I like Philadelphia Elite because they have options, right? And optionality
Yep.
is super important in basketball, and it's super important in single elimination basketball, right? You can win a series like we see in the SWBA without a single star, right? Or with a single star,
Mhm.
because you have the chance for that star over the course of a 7 game, a 5 game, a 3 game series to be a star.
Yep.
One game, the margin of error is less. Again, this isn't the run to one yet, but it feels like it. It feels just like a preview. So I've got Philadelphia Elite. I think there's also a lot more on the line for Philadelphia Elite. You win this and you lock yourself in. Pretty much, you lock yourself into the 2 seed. There's still, I guess, you'd have to look at the. I'm looking at the standings on the side here. The tiebreakers for Beasts of the East in Philadelphia. I know I've talked ad nauseum about like how important the seeding is in the Founders region.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, this should be a desperate mode for both the OGs and the Philadelphia because if you get to one, you don't have to play Philadelphia or Beasts of the East or Originators or Beasts of the East. You don't have to play the other two awesome teams in this region. It's why tonight's game is so important. Not only because of the talent level that we're gonna get, but
Mhm.
because this is you set yourself up just so much better for the
Yeah.
second round where you could get a still just free falling Lakeshore Drive or Bad Boys basketball, assuming you win that first round game against probably the North. I'm excited. I've got Philadelphia Elite. I love what they've done, but I'm excited for this game, and I'm not even on the call, B-Ron. I know this is the third time I've said it. Third time. I'm
Yeah.
jealous that you get to be on this call.
Yeah, I really wish you could join me on that one, March. It's gonna be real
Don't put that one out there. You might just get unlucky enough to have that wish come true. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, you're fine. But no, I think that you're right. When you talk about the options that Philadelphia has, M- uh, M- Monte Parson has come on over the last month or so, really, and put a lot of eyes on him. And we have so much young talent here in small prep. That, granted, all these kids are young, yes, but at 15 years old, you're talking about he has another 2 years here in small prep. There's the ceiling he has on the prep level is insane to me. So I'm excited to see where he goes and how much his impact is on this game, as well as kids like Nas Hall. Can't forget about him as well. So
Hmm.
I'm really excited to see how those two mesh together and how they kind of counter between Laster, Cooper Flag, and Ilgauskas.
Yeah, it should be a dandy. So that one is at 7 p.m. Of course, that's not our only piece of action tonight. Southeast Select H-Town at 8, and then SimWorld Africa Best Coast at 9. All of that gets rolling, though, at 7 p.m. with with OGs and Philadelphia. That is our show. We're coming back tomorrow. We're going to recap the SimWorld Hoops game of the week. We're going to recap Wolves, Mavs, and anything else that comes our way as the run to one fast approaches. B-Ron, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for tuning in. This is me holding back a sneeze, and this has been SimWorld Today here on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.